All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the Family First Life Northwest Keep Striving podcast. And today we're lucky to have Grady Polcyn from FFL America on our podcast. It's an honor and privilege to have him on simply because Grady's passed. He's been here for just over 4 years. He's an integrity partner, which means his business has been acquired because he's achieved a level of success that is really second to none here at FFL. He's been a great example of social media. He's been a leader in regards to like enthusiasm, the transfer into enthusiasm to his entire team, which is different and unique because that's easy to follow. He's been someone that, I've looked up to in business across the way the entire time he's been here. He's been a great example for all of FFL. So we're lucky today to have Grady Polcyn on our podcast, and I appreciate your time.
Hey, I appreciate you too, Matt. And it'd be apropos if I didn't thank you for all you've done to lead the charge. And I'll tell an intro story before we pop in, is that prior to starting with FFL in January 2018, I was a lurker, right? I was hiding in the shadows, looking around. Is this something I could do? Are those leaderboards real? Is that real? Is that what the policy value was they sold to the client? Those can't be what they make in a week. They protect that many families. Matt Smith, 2017 FFL. This is early on, like I'm doing my software thing. I'm having kids. I'm trying to figure out, is this a decision I want to make to leave the uncomfortable, unsuccessful, unfruitful bosom of what I was doing before to make the leap into entrepreneurship? And I wrote that quote down 5 years ago. And so I appreciate you, Matt, for all you've done to lead the charge and be such a great example for all of us coming to this company.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate the compliments for sure. It means a lot coming from you. What do you think, like your prior experiences that you had that then made you be successful with FFL?
It's a good question. So I think, this is like everybody has sacrificed things to get good at something, right? You sacrifice time with family and friends to get good at piano or art or sports. Your daughter's, even if you as a father and a part of that, you're sacrificing other things you could be doing or maybe should be doing, but for the greater goal of helping her develop. And that's the thing with everybody is I think people have skills, talents, abilities in many different disciplines that they've sacrificed to get good at. For me, I sacrificed a lot of things like studying. Not sacrificing studying. I studied a lot of business mindset. I studied a lot of marketing all throughout the many years before I found FFL, not knowing where it would lead me, in the mindset that someday something will appear that I can give my all to. And, I did some network marketing early on where I learned good presentations. I learned how to tell a story. Problem, desire, solution, close is always a good way to set up a story. Invoke a problem in the mind of the prospect, offer a solution to said problem, instill desire to solve the problem, and then close, put them in a position where you can offer them the solution, which in our world is generally either partner with FFL as an agent or someone want to be an entrepreneur, or from a client standpoint, putting them in a position where we have X, Y, and Z different product options, right? So for me, I learned a lot of those things that never yielded me any income. I mean, I think the year before I started with Family First Life, I made 42 grand. And, we don't need to, results not typical, don't be typical. That's what I earned. And, my goals were to make more money. And then when I found Family First Life, a lot of things changed. But I think, Matt, it was a lot of those just having a mindset of trying to get better. And that's one of the things I think I try to instill to my team this day and age is, hey, this was work. Instagram Reels are great for social media marketing. Email drip campaigns are great. Approved text services where you can communicate with your team. Having group Slack channels where you can have a lively conversation. Training websites, and all things that I learned throughout my different network marketing. And then I did run a software company for some time that was a crazy cool experience. I didn't know how to put the zeros and ones together, but I could talk a little bit. And so that's a coding joke. It rarely hits, but I used to say to my lead software engineer, I was like, how do you know where the zeros? He's like, it's not zeros and ones, Grady. And I was like, I got it, Earl. And he, great guy. It was a great experience, but you don't know where things are going to lead you to and put you in a position where you can actually capitalize on everything. And I think that, for myself, I was fortunate in hindsight, right? When you're going through it, what's the old adage? If you're going through hell, just keep on going, right? It wasn't hell, but it was not where I wanted to be. It was not the life that I desired. It was not the promises I made to my wife. It wasn't the goals I had for my children. It wasn't the environment I wanted to raise them in. and to find FFL and to go, okay, so all this is dependent on me evolving as my skill set of communication with clients and helping them make good decisions to improve their lives and relieve stress, which is what the beauty of life insurance is. And then learning how to teach others how to do that the same. I'm like, okay, I've been doing this in different ventures for some time now. This seems like one that it's not going anywhere. And now fast forward, 4 years, I've been humbled and blessed to partner with Integrity, 1,000 active agents and growing like a weed. And it's a testament to, the platform that Sean has created for us, a testament to great leadership like yourself, who paid the dues early on to create the trainings and teach me how mortgage protection works. I'm like, mortgage protection? This is a fascinating concept. Once you're so confused on what it is, and then when you get it, you're like, this is brilliant. And then you learn senior mortgage protection, you're like, this is brilliant too. Like, holy cow, who came up with this? What warlock wizard up in a high castle etched this into stone and then taught Matt Smith so he could teach me? And that's what's so cool about this business is you just kind of learn stuff. But then, to come back is, I think that's where I had for many years leading into this was just this insatiable desire to learn that I didn't know where the application would apply. And then now I apply those things inside of FFL. And it's like, who can I learn from? What can I do? What am I doing that could be improved? What am I doing that I should stop doing? And that's really kind of the way that what helped me get to today.
That's fascinating. Thank you. I appreciate it. The thing that is interesting to me, Grady, is literally like people need to learn how to be patient with the results as far as the long game, but they need to be impatient with how they learn, whether they're learning quick enough, what experiences that they're using and changing, whether they're having progress, measuring those things. And I think one of the best compliments that I can give you is the urgency that you've created in your agency kind of bleeds through it. And that's hard to find. So how do you believe to help create leaders and layered leadership in your organization? What do you believe those traits are to really explode? Because it's really hard to do this business by yourself, and you can for a period of time, but it takes an army, right? It takes help. So talk to me about that.
I think that I try to take temperatures of people, right? For me, I'm a pretty energetic, high focused guy. Do I have it all figured out? Not even close. Do I think that the decisions I make are always right? Far from. But I think that if I tell my team this sometimes, like, successfully make decisions fast, right? The thought process and the belaboring you put yourself through of humming and humming and consulting people and having multiple discussions on making a decision that most of the time isn't something that is even that big of a deal. If you start to just learn how to make decisions quickly, whatever it is, and trusting your intuition and trusting your gut and trusting your past experiences and trusting how would so-and-so approach this if they were in my shoes, and making that decision, that the quickness at which you start to do that, I mean, you can be a week, a month, years ahead of people who are still thinking about if they or shouldn't they buy their first lead order, right? Yeah. And so I try to move at that pace, and I try to help people make decisions faster, which then puts them in a position of generally confidence. Now, is every decision the right decision? Is every move we make the right move? But no, but predominantly yes, right? And living in a world of, if I can predominantly be in a yes category on the 80-90% of the pendulum, compounds. So I try to give that to my team. And so for me, going down into, my leadership groups, early on, how you lead is how they're going to lead, right? How you act is how they're going to act, right? Andrew Taylor would tell me, if you protect 40 families a month, your team will protect 20 families a month. So lead by example and protect a bunch of families, right? You were the number one family protector inside of the company for 2 or 3 years in a row. I mean, which is a testament to why you have such high producers within your agency, because people follow their leader. And so how people, I think, the base of the question, how do we get people to move quickly, is I try to enable them to be funny here. I felt a massive relief of freedom when I had 10 people that knew about diabetes, and to know that they could answer the questions about metformin and Trulia and all the different diabetic medications and atorvastatin and high blood pressure meds. And they had these resources of questions that they could now be the go-to for their new level. That created a significant level of freedom. And I think sometimes people try to focus on just only one person, or I'm trying to just coach everybody and see who wants to rise up and shine. And now there's a lot of people that don't want a leadership position. Of course, they just want to produce, love them to death. Don't stress yourself with, and bearing the cross of other people's stresses. But the people that want to, and that's really the decision that I always try to find, is at what point are they ready to start building? And for me, the fulcrum, the point, right? I think fulcrum's the lever. The inflection point. I don't know. It's more. I'll get my engineering book out later. Was if they protect 20 families a month. So those are really the people that I spent the majority of my time focusing on. Now, someone who protected 7 families a month had questions. Of course, I'm going to give them time. But the difference between them and a 20 family a month agent is just lead flow. And if they're not ready to commit to more lead flow, then that's a decision they need to live in. But the world that we talk about is one up here. And I can't slow down the thought process because you're not comfortable. I'm just going to speak at this level. I had a mentor one time who talked about, I'm making a little bit of money. No, 40 grand a year. Nothing, serving tables, trying to get my other deals going around. And he said, Grady, you should learn taxes the way millionaires approach their tax planning. And I'm like, what good would that be? And he's like, well, if you learn about S corps and LLC structures and UGMA accounts for your kids and all these different things that people set up, you're planning yourself for the future in a mindset and a place that you want to be. And thinking that way all of a sudden now opens up new opportunities for you. And the way you approach the world and the way you approach life puts you in a position where now you think differently because you have this new insight now if those thoughts are not. So that's what I try to do to my team. Let's talk about being in a position of protecting 40 families a month. Let's not coddle and cater down. Let's lift up, and then people fall in line somewhere there. But if we say, hey man, just get your 12 appointments this week and whatever you can figure out, it's fine. No, we talk about 30, 40 appointments a week. We lift the lid. So that's one of the things that I think that I do okay at, is trying to kind of have this sort of top line approach the way we talk and communicate versus just kind of like cater to the middle and the bottom. Because if you look at your agency, probably comparable to mine, it's a Pareto principle of, the top 20% of your agents produce 80% of the volume, and the bottom 80% of agents produce 20% of the volume. And it's just kind of irony the way you look at it. And you're like, there's hundreds of people that could just turn a corner and do 2, 3, 4, 5 more policies, and they have protection to more clients. Their family would be better off financially, and the volume would go through the roof. But so there you go.
If you can figure out how to move the middle 60%, that is you'd think we would all double, in a short period of time. Yeah. But yeah. I don't have that answer really. I don't know it all. That's for sure. So if you're starting an agent out and they want to be extremely successful, from a personal standpoint, reduction, and owning an agency with lofty goals. You touched on this, but what are 3 things that you would tell them? Here's your 3 non-negotiables that you have to do when you're getting started.
I would say mentally plan here to be here a year from now, right? To give yourself a true and tried commitment. If there's someone that's dependent on you, a wife, a family member, a children, a spouse, I hate to be biased, but people who have dependents tend to do better. And incredible love to those who are a bachelor or bachelorette and have no one depending on them, that have fought through the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship and come out successfully. But generally, we get to a point in life where we're content because it's just us relying on us. I'll tell you, once I started having kids, I found another gear, right? I always felt I was a good, hardworking guy, but you pop some babies out that are looking at you and they're cute as can be. And you're like, we're not going to stay in this apartment forever. And you start to think differently. So I would say, the point 1 would be commit to be here a year from now. Let the people know who are dependent on you that this is something you're going to give it your all and you're going to discipline yourself. I'd say commitment number 2 would be to buy leads every week. And that's a thing that I think that agents who are coming to this business don't understand it's a business, right? They look at their costs as expenses instead of looking at their costs as investments. There was a young girl I met at an event recently, and she was like, is the $100 for work spots really worth it? That's, I got to think, do I want to spend the $100 on work spots, or do I want to use that towards lead money? And I was like, because for us, and not that we're just farther down the road, we're farther up the mountain, but to look at that and not have the mindset that this is a significant micro investment that then yields you 30 to 40% sometimes on lead discounts. Your first order, you could have 3-4 months of it paid, and it's a sunk cost, and then you get all the different benefits. So, understanding that, to have that mentality of that, once I buy leads, I'm not gonna close them all. I'm not going to even get a hold of them all. Some have already died, and some think that you're dead, and they're not going to reach out to you, and they want nothing to do with you. And that's why they're leads. They're not sales. And people think, well, I bought 17, Matt, and 2 of them didn't answer, and 3 of them disconnected numbers, and 1 told me they didn't fill it out. Well, what did the other 11 do? Okay, so let's keep going, keep progressing, because they filled them out. And if they forgot, or they didn't like your tone, or whom you were, then you have to take that as the fact that this is part of the business, that it's better than having to go talk to the proactive girl at the mall and door knocking random houses and neighborhoods like realtors go out there and do, which is all different ways to generate business. So number 2, buy leads every week, because then it puts you in a position where you've always got that fresh batch. And if there's any new agents on here, always call your new leads first. The biggest mistake I used to make is I'd have these callbacks. Was he call me next week? Oh, I'm in the grocery store and I'm not strong enough to push him over the line. Okay, perfect. I don't want to bother you. You're in the grocery store. I understand what it's like. You don't want your vegetables to wilt. I totally get it. And so let me call you back. I'll call you back later. I'll call you back tomorrow. 9:15. Is that a good time? Yeah, 9:15 is perfect. I got the coffee on. I'm sitting by the porch. Call me 9:15. You call them 9:15 in 1 second, and you call them 200 times that day. They're never going to answer. So it's learning how to, Matt's got fantastic training on how to push through. Perfect. I understand you're busy. I'm busy too. Asking to drop the packet off. I'll be out there 6:15 or 6:45, which works better for you. I'm not home till 7. Perfect. I don't have anything at 7. I've got a 7:15 or 7:45. Right. And getting strong at that, but buying leads every week so that you're not reliant on these hopes or these callbacks, that you've always got fresh prospects to buy. So number 1, a year from now. Number 2, buy leads every week. And number 3, I would say focus on growing your skills. And that's the most important thing, that people come here and they think that I sold cars, or I was in roofing, or I've done affiliate marketing sales, or I was in network marketing, or I used to sell insurance someplace else and I did pretty well. I don't need to go through the trainings. I don't need to watch the way you guys do it. I've got it down. Well, you wouldn't be here if you got it down. Let's have that, healthy conversation to start this. And I think that that's one of the biggest pillars, is you start to see. I remember talking to Lynn in El Paso one time, and she's like, I run 12 appointments a week. I was like, 12 appointments a week? You're Hall of Fame producer. She's like, I've gotten really good. I close them all. And that's something that screwed me up early on. I was like, I'm booking 35 appointments and sitting with 17 and closing 4. And and you're like, and so, but give yourself that grace and perspective that that's a level you can get to by putting yourself in a position to constantly be honing your skills. And how do you hone skills? A few different ways, right? Knowledge, of learning the trainings, 2, application of actually going out and do it, and 3, counseling others who have greater skills than you, whatever you're trying to improve on. Early on, I talked to every single person with a red jacket or someone on the top of a leaderboard trying to say, how do you sell? You don't sell any Gerber. And what are you? I noticed you only sell this one product. How do you do it? And you just start to learn. The curtains are pulled apart, and you're like, okay, so you're just saying different words. You're still selling the same clients. They sell the same income. You still the same. Sometimes you're in a trailer park. Sometimes you're in a nice house. Sometimes you're in a new build. Sometimes you're meeting at a McDonald's. But if they want to meet you guys, here's the underlying fact. They're looking for coverage. Can you be the person to push through and help protect them? And the way you can get to getting to a significantly high close and protection rate and helping families get protected is an evolution of your skills. And that is one of the greatest revelations you can have in this business, is that if it's a B, it's up to me, right? And that sometimes is a lot of pressure for some people, which is why entrepreneurship is generally hard and there's a high washout rate. But it all comes down to, do I want to learn the proper word tracks? Do I want to learn how to overcome these objections? Because there's about 5 main objections. They ain't 20, isn't 200. It's about 5. And if you just get good at kind of navigating that and setting up your appointment early on, where by the time you think they might say that, you've already answered that 2 or 3 times in your presentation. Matt's got some of the best training in the company. That you're going to do well here, right? I can't make any guarantees, not make any promises. This is up to you, how well you want to do it. But the people whom are the most successful in this business have a long-term mentality. They buy leads every week, and they're constantly focused on improving their skills.
Absolutely. Love those answers. That's as good as it gets right there. What do you wish producers would ask you?
What do I wish producers would ask me? I wish they'd ask me about, the steps, right? Is it going to be this hard forever? And I wish they'd listen, right? I wish they would take our word as truth, because it actually gets, it doesn't even get easy. It gets fun. And that's the problem early on. It's difficult. I remember walking in my first homes and I'm like, I have no idea what to say. What brochures do I pull out? Some guys don't use brochures. Do I need to use these pamphlets? Do I need to show websites? Do I wear a polo or shorts? Or some people wear hats, and some people wear sneakers, and some people wear suits. And the confusion early on, I promise, will all be washed away with repetition. And your evolution of your skills can only come through sitting with more people, and to believe us that you get to a point where you get bored booking appointments because you're going to book them all. And you actually are waiting for someone to challenge you or rebuke you, because it's actually enjoyable to watch yourself from a bird's eye third party perspective, overcome these objections and get the appointment booked. And yearn for that place where your skills are so sharp that you book every appointment and you close every sale. And it's not some magical world. It's not some secret book that you get access to once you hit Hall of Fame that has the secret recipes and how to mix that doesn't exist. It comes internally. And as you evolve and develop and do this more and more, it will get fun. And that's some things that I think people get so stressed, because it's money. It's money. It's my money. It's finances. It's expenses, pressure, learning a whole new world, companies, calling carriers, talking to staff. It can be very overwhelming. We totally get it. But everybody's gone through it, and a lot of people have made it through the other side. And if you follow and lean on people that have made it to the other side, their whole goal is their hand is reached out, helping bring you over. So that's the thing I would, one of the things I think that new producers can get into a mindset that I'm going to get really good at this. And having the confidence to say that out loud to yourself is, it's a great mentor said, the most powerful words in the world are the words we say to ourselves. I mean, how do you talk to yourself? I'm not good at this, Matt. I suck at this. I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get mortgage protection. I don't know how those guys sell it. It seems like a calculus project to me. Lines are going here and lines are going here, and there's an intersection and letters. And if you think that way, you'll never get it. But if you say, I'm going to figure it out. I mean, this is positive affirmation. I mean, we're not a bunch of guys sitting up on a mountain smoking peace pipes, doing meditation, but we're guys who are very positive people and believe and understand that you arrive at places through decision, not through decision and determination, not through just being negative about what you're trying to accomplish. And there's a lot of deep stuff into this business as you progress, but I think that's, we'll give you that one.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, it's like the Seneca quote of, we suffer more in reality. We're basically in our imagination than reality, and we suffer twice or whatnot. And the thing that a lot of people do is they just don't keep things real. Their imagination gets wild in this business, and then they turn all their negative beliefs and it compounds and gets worse. And that's why there's high sales turnover in any industry. It's crazy, because it's really all mindset, like you're talking about. What do you believe? What are questions you ask yourself right now in business?
Deep stuff there. I ask, and this is a thing too, that's what I love about these podcasts too, is it challenges you to think deeper. And a lot of times, because I host a bunch on my own, or podcast trainings, however we want to call it, we're trying to help people get better, right? Yeah. That you get a lot out of this, not from me, I'm not saying that, but by doing it and learning and hearing other people's perspective and stories. And so for me, guys, I would say the biggest thing that I'm focused on personally is just constantly evolving, right? Learning new things, learning new ways to communicate, learning new mindsets. I'm constantly on YouTube University, which isn't a location. People are like, where is YouTube University? I'm like, it's YouTube, but we call it YouTube University because it's you can get a degree from just YouTube. But I'm constantly on YouTube, just trying to learn from other great business leaders and the mindsets at which they either approach sales or recruiting or leadership or communication or charisma or different things that people are great at and teaching. That's where I try to put myself right now, because I can't offer as much immediate sales training. Just I'm not active in the field now. When I was, it was bring it on, right? I'm ready for everything. But now today, and we were talking earlier about how we handle higher level things. And the thought process of higher level things is you need to put yourself in a position where you're elevating yourself to tackle those higher level tasks, higher level mindsets, higher level communication challenges that come about. And if you're constantly still limited by what you know from 2 years ago and you're not evolving yourself, you're not able to kind of see new things through a new lens. And so that's one question I ask myself is, how am I evolving? What am I doing today to better Grady? I work out, I try to eat well, my mom keeps telling me to stop eating gluten, right? But it's the same thing as I try to go, how many new thoughts have I put in my head today? And so this is some deeper, higher level stuff, guys, but it's some things that you can apply to yourself. I challenge my team, go watch door knocking trainings from solar guys, go watch phone script trainings from realtors, go watch in-home presentation sales from any roofer, any other industry. They've got little nuances and things that they do that they're successful doing that we probably don't teach here because someone hasn't found it and brought it here. And that's where a lot of evolution comes from in a sales process, is seeking counsel outside of your current market.
I love it. So, no question. So final question for you. So we're going to set Grady on the porch. He's at age 80 now. And your 4 kids hear your name. Maybe you grow your family more. I don't know. And when they think of your name, what do you want them to think of?
I lost you for a second. I was on a porch at age 80.
Okay. When your kids hear your name at age 80, what do you want them to think of?
You make me cry right now, Matt. I want them to think my kids. So Dad worked hard and he taught us a lot. He built up something for us, didn't give us everything. And now we've gone off and we've done our own things, either together or separate. But, my biggest goal is to be a good example for them, protect them. Challenge them appropriately, just like agents, right? I love my team, not as much as I love my kids, right? Obviously, but the thought process is that, Dad wasn't easy on us. He wasn't, he challenged us, but he was there for us. And so that's really what my goal is and that's the incredible part about this business, guys, is the financial service industry, the life insurance business, family first life, integrity, all the opportunities you have here. What you want to create has been created. And that's a pretty cool place to be, right? New guys are like, hey, I want to join X. I think I'm joining XYZ company. They're starting new and they've got some good contracts. I'm like, good luck. we did 300 million 2 years ago. We did 600 million last year. We got a good pace going this year. I don't know why you want to go against the grain. Like, that's your choice. It's not my choice, and not many of the people that are here. And that's why the company's going the direction it's growing. So, that's a powerful, deep question. I love my family more than anything. I'm sure, as a parent, the love for your children will drive you to do more and work harder than probably any other desire that's out there. And that's a cool, powerful place to be. And it's also a place where I hope that many people can find, whether it's within, your circle of family, or if it's philanthropy or your neighborhood, or just getting out of, you're pissed off at your credit, you're pissed off at your bank statements, or you're frustrated where you live, or you don't like the car you drive, all those things. Find the fuel to push you harder than you've ever been pushed, because you need it, right? There's no guarantees, but the way to get out of any rut is to keep going and keep pushing. So appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Grady. I appreciate your time and look forward to talking to you soon.